Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm Duke Silver. Today we're going to be playing the beta once again, and once again we are Wayward Sisters. The only other new hero I did get to try was Scheherazade, and the game just wasn't good enough to post, so we're just doing two Wayward Sisters games. I promise this one does play at least a little bit differently than the other one. This is actually the first one that I played. But yeah, once again we started with sweet oranges on the shop. If you cast it directly onto a frog, it will flip over in the shop, and then you can buy it. And we of course locked our food statted characters in the shop there, and we're going to be able to buy two here and go for a little bit of scaling on our sprout. And we do get our sleigh with our parrot, which is great. Also, new parrot art. I think the parrot art's been in the game for like a couple weeks now or something like that, but still noteworthy. Always love to see real art being replaced by the AI art. We get to triple our sprout here. We got a decent chunk of stats with a couple of parrot sleighs there, so that's really nice. We got a good chunk of stats nice and early here. Nothing to lock there, so we just pass. Opponent also making use of a parrot. It takes out one of our Rapunzel's princes, but we do get to triple our Rapunzel's prince. Thanks to our bottled ship, we get an extra treasure choice, but we're going to take the Seer Sphere. I mean, I think Scheherazade, you definitely want to lean towards spell treasures. I do like Storybook this early, and also there's a Starcatcher and a Puck in the shop, which is usually a fine pickup on 3. Like, you want it a little bit earlier in 3, I think, but I think that's pretty reasonable. With the yellow bark in the shop, and of course I was kind of leaning towards mages anyways, I decided to sell down and pick up a yellow bark plus a rose in a jar. And yeah, we're gonna take that and do a little bit of attack scaling. We already have the sprout that wants attack anyways, so it seemed like a no-brainer. And yeah, we're gonna pick up a Tanuki. So there's a new unit that is sort of a payoff for Tanuki Sleigh. It's like a little bit narrow, but the concept is pretty fun. We don't get to fill out our board there, unfortunately, but we do manage a tie there even still after we cast a spell as our final action on that last turn. And we did get our Tanuki Sleigh, which is nice. That's going to increase the power of all our monsters everywhere. Speaking of monsters, there is a River Wish Mermaid, which is a monster, but I mean, it's just kind of bad, so we don't want to take it. It's just like, it's still just kind of a bad backline unit and a bit of a liability. We do get to pick up a second Tanuki though, which is really nice, and we'll throw a Slamulet on there to try and keep the scaling going and have our Tanuki keep pace and be able to just keep getting those sleighs. Unfortunately, we didn't get our second Tanuki sleigh though, but we've gotten a couple so far, so our monsters have started to scale a bit. You can see the Radiant Fairy up to 8 power now instead of its usual 4. And we get to triple our Tanuki, which is really, really nice. First of all, first thing we're gonna do though is double up a health spell there onto it. And yeah, I could take the pirate map here, but I mean, I think I gotta take the ravens. I mean, with the Seer Sphere already, like I just think it's kind of a no-brainer with this hero. I mean, the potential for like a level 7 treasure would be really nice, but I think again, I think we just gotta go for the mage treasures, even though we're not necessarily mages. I was kind of lamenting the fact that we can't cast that on the shop. That would have been kind of funny, especially also with the spell that eats a character. If we could cast that on the shop, that would be pretty sick here. I think we are going to cast it anyways, just get a little bit of health back and see another spell, and we do find a Knight's Oath there, so we're going to be able to double cast that on the shop. Putting a decent amount of stats on the shop here, and I think this 15 power Kiv is looking a little bit too good to pass up. We could take a couple rolls and try and find our Sea Witch, which would be like a good sleigh accelerator for our Tanuki, which would be ideal. Or like even what do you call it? Nocturne would be really good. Nocturne would be an excellent target for us to just dump spells into. But yeah, we are continuing to get our Tanuki sleighs, which is which is very nice. Now we just gotta keep it going. Unfortunately, we didn't win the combat, so we don't get to keep those Knight's Oath stats. So our Kiv is back down to 8. And here we're gonna do a little bit of science. So Core Fusion does eat a character as well, but it eats a character that we already have. And I think a couple people in the chat suggested that this would probably just eat my entire board, but that we should probably test it anyways. I mean, maybe I could have set myself up for. I could have set myself up for success better, because we do eat our entire board. We get some stats onto the Tanuki that was in the shop, but with the new you there, I think we just have to cut our losses and see if we can get spike something really good on 6 with the new U's, and we do, and we find a Kraken, which is a monster, and Kraken is that Tanuki payoff I was talking about earlier. We're even going to sell this yellow bark and put an extra slay ability on this Kraken, which is gonna anything we slay here is gonna show up in our shop. Unfortunately, the monster book or the book mage there kind of hoses us with a poison apple. But with the reduced cost of all these characters, we are going to be able to rebuild our board very, very quickly here. We of course take the Woman in the Moon, which has the Tanuki power, and also I guess I should explain what Kraken does. So Kraken has an entrance ability, which says your attack is applied to your health. Like, it doesn't look like it at first glance because the entrance effects preview is on, but it's got actually really low permanent stats for its toughness, and its slay ability. It has a slay ability that says every time you slay, you give all your monsters on the battlefield +4/+1, I believe. So yeah, you're scaling your monsters as you slay, as well as scaling itself and increasing its attack by leaps and bounds. Well, I mean, not really leaps and bounds, I guess. It's barely better than Klek on level 5, which feels pretty bad for a level 6 character, just because of the way stats work in this game. Also, I did kind of gloss over it as I was trying to explain what Kraken does, but we did take a deal with the devil last turn. Just to be able to fill out our board, which I think paid off, allowed us to keep our health high here, and we got to recoup our XP by casting an XP spell this turn. We're gonna take a mat here just to try and mitigate any possible scam against our Kraken, because this is pretty much our game plan. Like I said, it's pretty weak as far as 6s go, I think, but I think it's a pretty fun concept. But for it to like really make sense to really be a level 6 strategy that can compete with actual end game boards, I don't think the numbers are quite there. But I do think it's a fun concept, and also makes Tanuki something that I'm probably going to speculate on a bit, and be very disappointed when Kraken isn't big enough to get there, as it just gets demolished by multiplicative stats from a few different comps. Here I was considering just taking the Frank and moving into Scam. We don't really have like the basis for a lot when it comes to transitioning, but I mean, the thought's always there, especially because, like I said, I don't think the Kraken numbers get crazy enough, especially since we didn't have the Sea Witch immediately, and we don't have the Tanuki to slay with anymore. But I decided, I mean, this is the beta, let's try it out, let's try out the new unit, let's go all in here. There's another Core Fusion. We could have eaten our board again, but probably wise decision not to. But yeah, we did pick up a Sea Witch, which is going to accelerate our scaling. And if this Kraken board's gonna be able to get there at any point, it's gonna be here on the beta while I'm close to 4K. As again, these are like my first games of the patch, and there's a lot of save boards, of course, on the beta, which makes lobbies quite a bit easier because people just aren't counterplaying you because they're not humans. I think we might have one or two people actually real in the lobby. We definitely had a couple people sniping while I was streaming, which I encourage, of course, just to make sure, just to make sure that we get full lobbies. I like to encourage people to snipe because even on live, I feel like you get too many saved boards, and I'll just much rather play against humans, as I've said time and time again. We get a level 6 treasure. Unfortunately, none of this is really that exciting for us. We're going to take Pirate Safe here. Oh, also worth noting, Drumroll has been removed from the beta. Like, in the beta, the Drumroll has been moved to Chaos, I believe. So like, I mean, drumroll, obviously, like by far the best level 6 treasure, has been completely neutralized, which I'm not sure how I feel about that necessarily. I feel like that's not really addressing the problem. It's just addressing a treasure that's far stronger than everything else. It feels a little bit like a band-aid solution. Again, I feel like the numbers just get too crazy on 6. Like, the transition from 5 to 6 shouldn't be so stark and abrupt. Like if one person finds their level 6 character before everyone else, like the one that fits their comp, then they're so far ahead that like everyone else has to find their linchpin piece on 6. Otherwise, like, the lobby's just over. And I just don't feel like that's healthy. And honestly makes for a really bad feeling endgame a lot of the time. Anyways, I'm not here to rant about that. But yeah, we just cast a bunch of spells here. We did get our Kraken triple, and we did crack our pirate safe. I could have taken the golden mimic and hoped for a good level 6 treasure, but honestly I'm not really sure what other level 6 treasures like we really care about with this comp specifically. So I just went with Fairytale, hoping that we can find some golden women in the moon maybe, or just more golden sea witches, and really try and push this Kraken as far as we can go. The Hecate is just like a naturally good pickup here, just a bunch of stats to add to our board. We're gonna do a little bit more science here, and we're gonna wolf our shop. And unfortunately, it does change their cost to level 6s. So we're gonna re-roll those, and notably, after we Grimm's Twist those wolves, those characters in the shop are not Fairytale upgraded. So, I mean, I guess potential way around not being able to get treasures anymore with Fairytale. It's a little convoluted and very specific, but hey, today I learned something, and I hope you learned something as well. All right, yeah, we are. Again, we're still just all in on this Kraken plan. We got a fluff player here, and fortunately they're not scaling too out of control, so we are able to continue getting our slays. And this Hecate, just a pretty big unit, honestly, about as big as our women in the moon are getting. Our woman in the moon is getting right now. As always, we have the option to new you the what do you call it? The narc there on our board, but it's just so much better to hit the entire shop twice to see what we get. I think we've also got the rummage in shop, which I almost cast first, but then realized the new you was there. I figured I should at least take a look. There's nothing that we want, but it's still worth a look. We've got a couple more things. There's Titan's Flowers, which again we don't have we don't have many permanent defense stats or toughness stats on our Kraken, so that's not exactly what we want. But if that were Dragon's Lessons, then that would actually not be too bad on the Kraken. If we could like even double cast that a couple times, that would be very, very large, and the Kraken would get very big. So I mean, yeah, Dragon's Lessons is sort of another payoff for the Kraken, but again, that's like a pretty big ask to be spending that kind of gold on that. All right, we lost to this Angels player last time, but we do manage a victory. We are outscaling them now. We popped their Chrono Crystal there. There's an Aura Amplifier, which I was pretty tempted to take, just to throw it on the Sea Witch, just to again really continue to try and get these Kraken stats. And the Sea Witch Kraken is of course the sort of best payoff for them, anyways. It's the synergy. I mean, outside of Tanuki, of course. It's sort of a 3-card or three unit combo. Unfortunately, again, because we haven't been able to keep slaying with the Tanuki, like these other Krakens that we're picking up later just aren't big enough to be slaying on endgame boards. So you have to pick one up early, and you have to get it scaling. Otherwise it's pretty useless. So honestly, pretty narrow. But again, I don't know. There's just something very satisfying about numbers going up, and I like the idea of turning your backline Sea Witches into real units. Like getting 100 up to 100, 200 power is pretty solid. Makes them not so anemic back there. There's another Kraken, but again, it's just too small to take at this point. we're gonna take another spell book here and just cast some more spells and hope to scale our second Kraken up to a point where it can keep slaying. That one probably should have just gone straight on the Kraken. Like casting it, like we are getting the double cast on the shop, but it's still, it's just kind of a waste with the low amount of scaling we're getting from the spell book. Like it should just be going straight on the board. But we're trying to make use of the hero. Again, this is the first time I played this hero, so I also was trying to figure out exactly how many spell triggers we were getting on the Hecate. And like I said in the last video, it is just 2. Unfortunately, it's not for the whole shop. But the Hecate was so big that I thought maybe we were getting a bunch of cast triggers from them, but no, we just have cast enough spells that that Hecate is large enough. There. Angel player once again, they get their resummons, but it's not enough to take down our Woman in the Moon. And there we go. Honestly, like I said, even like really, I would say like those are not the strongest endgame boards I've seen, by a pretty wide margin, and we still kind of just barely get there. I mean, of course, like we could have more things going on to increase the amount of slays, which I think you do need. You definitely need like multiple sea witches and like maybe the item that enhances the amount of times you slay. Like maybe that's something you need to prioritize for something like this, but like I think the numbers are probably just never going to keep up with the ways that you can multiply stats in this game. Like with drumroll removed, that does sort of lower the ceiling of a lot of comps. So I mean that does kind of go a ways to lowering the numbers on 6. Again, it feels a little bit like a band-aid, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's something that will help make some like meaningful change in that department anyhow. But yeah, there we have it. Kraken Slay. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Very much appreciate it. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. I'd very, very much appreciate it. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.